This is Izotope FXEQ, and essentially what it is a multi-effects plugin that operates pretty much the same way as a parametric EQ. So if you're familiar with how to use a parametric EQ, adjusting things, you're going to instantly be familiar with this. About the only difference is from like a real EQ versus this FX EQ is that we can only add effects, right? We can't cut them. We can't go to minus. We can only add. All right. So real quick, let's take a tour of the interface. This is a pretty self-explanatory plugin. Again, if you're familiar with EQ, you'll understand this immediately. So up top here, we have a bypass, self-explanatory. We have an FX only button. This is useful if you want to put this on a send, so that way you're not getting the dry, just the FX only, then you can dial up the amount that you want. We have a built-in limiter, pretty cool. We have a bunch of presets built in here, and the dice button will give you random presets. Right here, we can control the overall amount of all of our effects. Dream of something sweet. Right, pretty cool to have that in there. Now, as far as operation goes for each of the individual effects that we have here, it's going to be the same. Okay, so I can operate things or adjust things directly in the interface just by clicking on a node, moving it around, or I can operate or adjust this stuff down here just like a regular EQ, change the gain. I can also double click and type in whatever value that I want, change the Q here. We also have different band shapes, so we could switch this around, high shelves and low shelves, whatever you want right there for each different band per effect. So you can have up to 6 bands per effect. So that means right now I have 2, right here and right here for this reverb. If I want another one, I can just click anywhere on this line where that plus is. Just click, I'll get another one. I can then customize the shape for this node and customize that. Create another one if I want, customize that. You can do some really cool stuff with this, create some really weird effects. So that way, essentially, we're just getting reverb in this case in this frequency area. We're getting reverb just in this area, reverb just in that area, and reverb just in that area, instead of having reverb across the entire spectrum, right? Across the entire frequency range. Now, if I want to get rid of a node, I can select it. I can bypass a node right here, which lets you listen to it to see if the change you made was good or not, right? So bypass it right there, or hit the X. That will completely get rid of it. You can also solo nodes, just have it selected and solo it, and then let's just take this stuff off for now. That way, I can hear what's going on in just the area. In this case, for the reverb. All right, now as far as the effects go, we have saturate, saturation, reverb, delay, modulate, and lo-fi. And within each of these, we have different types. So for saturate, you have your tape, your satin, grit, fold back, snap, bump, steel, and corrode. For reverb, you have hall, chamber, and plate. For delay, you have classic, reverse, crunch, and modulation. For modulate, you have chorus, a doubler, a phaser, and a flanger. And then for lo-fi, you have radio, cassette, vinyl, and tape. All right, you also have a couple different buttons depending on what you're doing. For like saturate, we have 4-time oversampling. Here for delay, we can enable a ping pong delay mode. For lo-fi, we can enable downsampling right there or not. Okay, so that's pretty much all the operation. And then you have a couple knobs here that you can use to dial things in that I'm sure for things like reverb, delay, modulation, you're already familiar with what pre-delay and decay does, right? So let's get onto it and let's listen to it here. Dream of something sweet. So I already have this set up. Let's just focus on the main vocal here. And let me just reset all of this here. All right, let's hear this. Dream of something sweet. So instantly I know I'm going to want some reverb. So I'll grab my reverb, grab a node here. I'm going to change it to a different shape for now. I think I'll probably want it in this maybe lower area. Dream of something sweet. Right, so we can constrain reverb just where we want it, so that way it's not going over the entire mix. I definitely want some here, maybe. Dream of something. I want to change this to a chamber. Sweet. And then I'll add another node. So I want to add some air to it up here, of course. There soon. Widen that. Or maybe I could go for to wake yourself. Yeah, I don't want to pull everything up. Let's just do this here. So discreet. All right. And change that decay, of course.
Windows got the sun.
You can also lock this to the DAW tempo if you want. But I think we're pretty good here.
To wake your soul.
All right. Then from there, maybe we'll do a delay. So we have one note in here already. Switch that around.
Discreet. Windows got the sun. Doors invite us through.
There we go. Right, just that area maybe, so that way I can avoid things at the low end. Of course, I can dial this in however I want. Let's go down to saturate, and I think maybe some tape saturation on this. Let's try that.
Dream of something.
In this case, I'm just going to use one of these shapes and put it across the entire mix, I think.
Sweet. I will be there soon.
You can tilt that higher or lower.
To wake you so discreet.
In this case, we're just adding a little bit of excitement to it to make it a little bit more alive, and then pull down the overall level. Pretty simple.
I will be there soon.
It's already pretty much coming together. We can add some modulation if we want.
Wake you so discreet.
Maybe I'll...
Windows got the sun.
Let's do something weird here. Let's do modulation, but just in this area maybe.
Doors invite us through.
Maybe a phaser.
Footsteps in the sand.
But just in that area, so it kind of...
Paradise in you.
Kind of a cool ghostly effect. But just in that area, right? We're not overdoing it. For lo-fi, maybe we could do the entire area, make it radio.
To wake you so discreet. Windows got the sun.
Cassette, vinyl, tape here.
Doors invite us.
In this case, I just want it around the low end.
Invite us through.
There we go. Now, if I bypass it,
Dream of something sweet.
boring. Let's pop this back on.
Dream of something sweet.
And we do it with some demo drums in there, and then the backing vocals, which I already have FXEQ set up on, pop that on. So for this one here, I have more reverb in this low end, and then a push here at the top, a little bit of lo-fi at the top. I have saturate and satin down at the bottom to push up that bottom end, and some delay in that middle part for the backup vocals. So bring all of that in together. First, we'll just bypass everything.
Dream of something sweet.
Okay, then we'll turn everything back on, so we'll have both of these on. Now we have this.
Dream of something sweet. I will be there soon. To wake you so discreet.
So much more interesting, much better there. And, you know, it's sort of a different way to work with your different types of effects, instead of sort of putting it over everything, putting it over just the areas that that you want. So of course we can use this on individual tracks. We can also use it on full mixes. Let's go to another individual track for now. Let's check this one out. I don't even know what I have here. I think I have guitar. Let's see what I have. Yeah. Okay, so I have guitar. Right. Then I'm just using this electric clean preset. All right, that's pretty cool. It just adds some delay in this lower area, add a few different nodes of reverb to shape that. Some lo-fi up here, maybe put lo-fi across the whole thing and pull it way up. Again, you can get crazy here and start adding nodes in different areas and creating different shapes. Like that or something. Right, you can get pretty creative. This really works well with saturate, especially in this low end. If we go to like, let's go to bump. On saturate, then we'll drive it and we'll tilt it down. Really kind of thickens it up there. Or we can hit this and just see what we get. Go to this sample. All right, so this definitely needs reverb, but I need another band of reverb in this lower end, and I'm going to use saturation to bring everything out. What should we use? Maybe fold back is weird. I don't think we should use fold back for this here. Let me turn this down a bit. You can do some effects if you want, right? I think what I want though is probably just tape. I'm going to change the shape and really energize all that. But I also want delay on the top end. The sparkle. Let's get this modulation going here, man. Chorus over maybe this area. Turn the rate down though. There. Bypass. Right, so we brought something a little interesting to that without overpowering the, the dry sound. Here we have, should be piano. Bypass that. Okay, so of course this is going to need reverb and delay, which I already have set up here. Bit of modulation in that lower end. I have a reverse delay on this, so it adds some like these cool reverse kind of like decays. And we could saturate it a bit, I guess. Let's saturate the top. I'm going to bring this out with, let's try some grit. There we go. Of course, adjust the amount of that. Add some really cool modulation to that, reverb, delay, some motion, bringing out a little bit of it with saturation. Overall pretty easy to use and easy to figure out plugin. But we can also use it, as I said, on a full mix. I already have it set up here, but I'll bypass it for now, let you kind of hear the gist of this.
Une ombre dans le vent.
it's already pretty good, but I can delve in there and fix it up a little bit more. So I definitely want more reverb on those vocals. So we'll deal with that first. Probably got how to turn it on. Right in this area here. I don't want to overdo it, but I do want to pull some in there. And the top here. Yeah. I think right around here too. So I'm not going to reverberate too much in the low end because I don't want it to get too messy. But this shape seems to work pretty well. Right, it immediately adds more liveliness because we're putting her in like a hall. It just sounds instantly more alive if I bypass it. Right. Then it needs a delay, so let's dial that one in. I'm kind of gonna dial in the delay a bit between the reverb. You don't have to, of course. You can dial in wherever you want, but just so it doesn't clash, we're gonna do some delay here. It's using the classic. I have the pong on or ping pong on right now. We could try different types, but I think for this, a classic delay works. I'll do something weird at the low end. I'm actually going to add delay in the low end. Right, it adds these sort of ghostly delays because I don't have it pulled up incredibly high, right? I just kind of blend in around 2 dB of that. And it becomes this haunting thing, especially once we get down to like the end of a verse. Right here, those repeats. The only thing I would want added to this plugin would be a built-in ducker or make these bands dynamic, which in the end, I mean, it's the same thing at the end of the day, right? But a built-in ducker would be amazing, at least for the reverb and the delay. So that way I can set my delay where I want it for a certain area, but then I can duck it out of the way when things get really loud. So that way it doesn't get messy. Yes, I can already do automation and just automate, you know, the gain function. You can do that. But again, a built-in ducker would be a great improvement for this plugin. So it already sounds much better. Now I'm going to do something here in the low end with the saturate and the bump. It's got a pretty good low end to it already, if you hear that bass. But I'm going to bring it out even more with this bump. We're going to pop this up, and I'm going to tilt it down a bit. Now you'll hear the difference here. I mean, you can make it insane if you want, but that's obviously too much. But I want to make that, I'm trying to make an atmosphere here, right? This song is about loneliness and sadness and stuff like that. So I want to make it feel surrounding, right? Like you can't escape it. So we can dial that in, we can excite some of those harmonics. It brings that low end out without really overpowering the top end. We can still hear it very well. Move on to modulation. I'm not going to do lo-fi for this. I am going to do a little bit of modulation across the whole thing using a chorus. The depth is up, but I have the rate down, and that's to bring in some eeriness. So if we just solo that. Right, you're having like this twisting sound going on. I just dial in a bit. I should also mention that these effects are in parallel. They're not in serial, meaning that it's not like it goes into saturate, then goes into reverb, then goes into delay. No, it doesn't do that. It splits it off into each separate effect, and then of course brings it all together on the output. So you can run something through a reverb without it being affected by the immediately by the delay. So again, parallel, not serial. So I think we have it set up pretty good right now. And if we just play it from say here.
Le vent, mon cœur se tait sans toi. Une mélodie qui ne s'arrête.
Hear those repeats. The delay fills in perfectly. Bypass it.
Une harmonie de tristesse. Oh, l'écho d'un rêve oublié.
Sounds kind of dead like that once you've heard a much more lively version, right?
L'éclat d'une lame. Le violon pleure pour moi. Le violoncelle répond sans voix. Chaque note un adieu discret. Un chagrin qui jamais ne se tait.
All right, so if you want to pick this up for yourself, of course, I'll have links in the description below. And if you want to get the free 10-day trial, just make sure you have your Izotope product portal installed, and you can download all the different trials for everything they have right in there and check it out yourself before you decide to purchase. All right, guys. So again, this is Izotope FXEQ. Links for it in the description below. Go check it out. At least check out the trial to see if it's something that you could add to your toolkit. All right. Once again, Izotope FXEQ. Go check it out.